What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Play the Vinyl podcast. You know, today I started writing a whole lot of Red review, and then for some reason it's extremely fucking difficult. I don't know why. Hold on, let me just turn my mic up a bit. All right, there we go. For some reason, it's like extremely difficult to write that. I don't know. Again, I've written a Dilit review and shit, but I think Whole Lotta Red is just so fucking like all over the place, and the fact that it has like two themes or two aesthetics I just split, like, it's just fucking me up with writing it. But I'm gonna get to that. It'll probably come this week. But anyway, what I was kind of thinking about today was like, all right, so obviously 2020, 2021 is here. It's a shit show again, but it's fucking here. But in terms of music, like 2020 was a weird year for music because, I mean, I talked about this obviously last episode, but it was like, we got a lot of cool underground shit. But a lot of mainstream stuff didn't come out. I mean, and I think there's a good reason to that. Artists can't tour. So it's like, why the fuck would Drake, Kenny, or Cole drop if they can't, pull in $100 million fucking touring, and performing their shows? Which is why I was surprised that, Peggy dropped EP, but like, I was surprised that Cardi and Uzi dropped. I thought that was kind of a dumb move by their labels. I mean, I think Uzi might have dropped before COVID. But for Cardi, I mean, listen, if his time was up, that he had to probably on his contract or whatever. But he signed to OGG, so it's like, I don't know. But, for Cardi to drop, especially someone who just thrives off of fucking festivals and shows. I mean, more so festivals. I think he really makes his bag on like headlining those type of, I don't even think Coachella, but like, what the fuck is the one in like Rolling Loud and shit? Like, he's a headlining artist. He probably gets paid a shit ton of money just to fucking show up. I was surprised that they dropped. But we did get a lot of cool shit. But now it's like coming into 2021, what's gonna kind of be here, and what's gonna come, because we've been expecting Kendrick and Cole and Drake to drop. I mean, Drake did his Dark Lane demo tape, but no one's listening to that, let's be honest. So we've been expecting these projects for quite some time now. I mean, Kendrick dropped one like 2017. It's been a couple years. Cole dropped 20. Fuck. What was For Your Eyes Only came out when? Like 2017? 2016? Was it the same year as Damn? Or maybe it was 2016 that For Your Eyes. Oh, but he dropped KOD. Shit, I forgot about that shit. He did drop KOD in 2018. So it's been like 2 or 3 years for most of these guys, and Drake dropped one 2018, 2019. 2019 maybe with Scorpion. It was a shit album anyway. So I think this year it's gonna be crazy. I mean, hopefully COVID kind of clears up by the summer and by touring season and festival season, but I think a lot of these guys are gonna I think we're gonna get a lot of projects this year. I don't see Kendrick waiting any longer. I can see Cole waiting, but as much as I've liked Cole kind of growing up, and I explain this to a lot of people, and a lot of people I talk to. I'm from New York, and a lot of people I talk to, that are into music, it's like they kind of have the same opinion. It's like, listen, J. Cole is J. Cole, and as soon as like, you tell someone like, oh, you're really into music, they go, what do you listen to, J. Cole? It's like, well, yeah, but he was so big here. It was like you couldn't go anywhere without hearing 2014 Forest Hills Drive when it first came out. Well, I mean, for a while after it came out too. I mean, you would go play ball, you would be wherever, and it was just like that album was on, or whatever songs from the album. And I think he kind of established like a home fan base here in New York because he was signed to Rockefeller with Jay, and it's just like he definitely established himself here. But I know it in other places. Like, I bet if someone was from Texas, like, they wouldn't have the same opinion. But no, like, I still can't knock him. I can't like knock him for anything, but KOD wasn't great. But I think he did his feature stuff. He kind of secured his bag. And I was thinking about this the other day too. It's like with the feature stuff, he was smart because he didn't do too many features out of his label. I mean, he did do some stuff obviously, but a lot of the feature stuff and packing that on top of Revenge of the Dreamers was like almost him investing into himself. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna drop an album this year, but I'm gonna do features. Obviously he makes money from features, but if you think about if it's artists that are signed to his own label, like he's not. Yeah, I bet Cole's not making them pay. Like that doesn't make any sense. Especially because they're all so tight. Like they were all recording in the same studio and shit. Because what JID dropped DiCaprio like during it wasn't like in a certain year, but it was a certain time span that Cole was kind of doing his thing with the features. And like again, like I don't really think he secured a bag per se. I think he secured a bag, with Revenge of the Dreamers dropping and him establishing his label as kind of like a no joke thing. Competing with TDE, not as good as TDE, but competing with TDE with artists like JID, Earth Gang. But that was really like I was just thinking about that. I was like, yo, like he was completely investing in himself for the long run, which was a smart move. Like I know Kendrick is like up there in TDE. I don't know if he's like the president or anything at this point. Like obviously like top and shit, but like I when Kendrick was doing features, it wasn't his like people were paying him and they said how much he made. Like something like 500, like half a fucking million for a feature. Which obviously isn't coming. I don't think comes out of the artist's pocket. It's gonna come out of the label and the artist team. There's got to be some kind of deal, surrounding that. But for Kenny secured the bag outside of his label more so. He did like the Goosebumps joint and all this shit when he was on that role. I think that was like post To Pimp a Butterfly, pre-Damn type shit. Maybe I think it was during that Untitled era. But Cole just like totally invested himself in his label with being hands-on with Revenge of the Dreamers and doing his features with his guys, That was really interesting. But in reality, it's like Cole, I can wait because I don't think he's going to drop the best project of his life. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, it's not that it makes sense or not. I don't know if that's like a valid thing. I think Cole has like he's tamed himself a lot. His first project wasn't anything to kind of go crazy about. I personally like Born Sinner. 2014 Forest Hills Drive I think is one of the best composed and best like one of the best hip hop albums of the 2010s that definitely gets looked over. A lot of that has to do with the production and the kind of fusion of music he used, and every song is catchy. The messages he was sending, and it's kind of like that. It's like that person who's average yet you're still into them. Like it's just like there's something attractive about that album. And it's like it's not that it excels in one thing per se, or it's not that it's sweeping you off of your feet per se, but it's like it's a consistent and just all around a good, nice album to listen to that has elements of R&B and rap and funk and all this shit, pop, hip hop, and I think it was just well executed. Obviously it's not his best work. For Your Eyes Only was better. I think like if I were to make a top 10 hip hop album or top whatever, I don't know if I consider like 2014 Forest Hills Drive a top 10, but if I were to make a list like the best albums, I don't even know. I think because of the cultural impact that Forest Hills Drive had, again, around me, it does beat out For Your Eyes Only. But For Your Eyes Only, obviously, lyrically, production was just a fucking phenomenal album. Definitely his best in terms of substance and content. But I don't think that, what is this? This one's called The Fall Off now or something, or whatever. I don't think it's going to be his best work. So I could kind of wait for that. Kendrick, though, I'm interested. I don't think Damn was his best work. To Pimp a Butterfly, obviously his best work. But I'm just interested. I'm interested to see what he comes with, because during a time where trap was coming and all this like this pop type of this like when pop rap was becoming a thing, Kendrick dropped To Pimp a Butterfly, And eventually, not unfortunately, but he did move to be kind of pop, anti-pop. Everyone calls Damn experimental, but Spin Butterfly was more experimental than Damn. Um, and he came to this point where he did drop the pop stuff, but it was like during times where the popular thing was not to drop a jazz rap album. He dropped a jazz rap album. So I'm personally really interested in what he's gonna come with, because I like, if he's following trends, it's gonna be interesting on its own. Um, but I think trap has kind of frozen in place, at least mainstream trap. It hasn't really changed since Damn dropped. Obviously, underground trap is a different story. There have been a lot of artists that have kind of broken down the walls and the barriers of trap, whether it be Cardi, Uzi. Uzi was doing his thing when Damn, like before Damn dropped, but like whether it's Cardi, after post lit Cardi, or like Lucky, or just all these like kind of psychedelic trap guys that are doing their thing. Kendrick's not gonna hop on that wave. So I'm just really interested. I think he's gonna come with his own thing, because there's not really a wave to hop on right now. Listen, Kendrick could start making drill songs and I'd still like them, but I don't see that happening. I don't see him following any trends. And I also don't see him going back. The only thing I'm expecting is if he like, so Good Kid, Mad City was obviously like a blend of like modern rap and G-funk and pop rap in a way with some songs. The only thing I'm thinking is he's gonna go back and just do like a fucking complete bar for bar G-funk just tribute album, almost to what brought. Everyone's saying he's gonna make a rock album. If Kendrick drops a rock album, I'm not listening to it. That's that. I'll listen to it, but come on, guys. Like, you think he's gonna drop a rock album, tour the world, and like be a rock star? I think it's gonna be a rap album. It's gonna be different than anything he's done so far, though. He's broken down a lot of barriers with what he's done in the mainstream. Obviously, artists Peggy, Earl, like Mike, like these are guys that have broken barriers. And so many more. In the underground, but I think Kendrick, in terms of mainstream rap, has the ability and the popularity to break barriers, and almost change how rap is gonna be afterwards. Kind of like Kanye did with 808s. I think Kendrick has the same exact ability, which is fucking interesting. But and I think Kendrick kind of understands that. Drake had that ability very early in his career, and I think now it's like Kendrick is gonna change that, because I think jazz rap became more popular after Timid Butterfly, and Damn definitely helped pick up rap to become like the most popular genre in the world. On top of Drake, obviously, you have to give credit where credit's due. Drake did that shit too. A lot of it, probably more so than Kendrick, made it the most popular genre. But Kendrick's just gonna be interesting. I think Drake's gonna be following trends. It's gonna be like a drill album, kind of like what he did with Dark Lane demo tapes. I don't see it being very different. Please, just not a two-sided album, and please just leave Michael Jackson and all that fake R. Not that Michael Jackson's R&B, but like what Drake was doing, like the fake R&B shit. Like, it's gonna be mainstream. It's not gonna be any different. I think he's gonna be following trends as he always does. However, I gotta say, guys, with drill, he's been on it for a minute. Like, he didn't. Everyone thought like with War and Demons, like he's picking up, like he's kind of doing his thing where he's a culture vulture. He's been on drill for a long time, guys. He's been listening to UK rap for a minute. And he's expressed that, and he's been kind of promoting that. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I think he's gonna drop something good, but it matters what he drops. If it's like an R&B album, because I know the album's called Certified Lover Boy or whatever. If it's R&B and if it's like that, and if it's just pretty much whatever. Oh my god. If it's just Take Care Part 2. I don't think it's going to be any good. It's different when you're 22, 23, like making a love album. But when you're like 35 with a kid and, have toured the world hundreds of times and just fucking like, you're at a point where no one's going to care and it's not youthful. Like, I don't think it's going to appeal to many people. So I don't know. We'll see with that. But in terms of mainstream rap, I think the big three per se have a lot to bring to the table, and I think there's a good chance that all three of those guys will drop because they could hopefully they'll be able to tour. I think if it come May, come June, there's still COVID is still an issue. No one's going like shows aren't happening. Um, no doubt that they're not going to drop because again, that's where most of their money comes from. Um, that being said, in the underground, you know, there's a lot there's a lot to look forward to that I feel like I think Gibbs is gonna drop again. Like I could see that happening. I could see Uzi dropping and dropping some hot trash probably, but I could see him dropping. Um, Cardi's not gonna Cardi's gonna drop Deluxe. Um, but it's gonna be an interesting year. I could see Travis Scott dropping if shows start. Like I don't think Travis Scott has a reason to wait like another year. He dropped in whenever 2018. Like it's been a while. Astroworld was a fucking success. I don't think it was a good album, but it was an insane success. And again, he made so much fucking money off of touring. Um, I think there's a good possibility he'll drop. Post Malone, fucking Post Malone, dude. Uh, I did he drop? I don't know. I think he dropped this year, or maybe like end of last year. But all these guys are just gonna be kind of dropping, and they've had time to sit in quarantine and think about what the fuck they're doing and record, which is makes it more interesting. Um, obviously the underground doesn't stop. When the mainstream is doing it like is on pause. I'm happy that guys like Mike and whoever Mike Peggy. I think Peggy's gonna drop again. I think EP2 is gonna come out. Um, Again, another guy who probably makes most of his money on his feet. Earl makes most of his money on his feet. Um, so not to get redundant, but I think we have a lot to listen to. Um, in terms of like the music world and what's coming. Um, Fuck yo, I think I said this on my Instagram. I don't know if I said this last week, but it's gonna be the year of Slow Tie, yo. Like, did you that led the whatever he dropped like that 3 song? I'm not even gonna call it an EP, but like that 3 song pack that he dropped with Feel Away, NHS, and Maza. Like yo, all three are slappers. Like all three are good songs. And it's like his lyrical ability is actually really. It's not like he's Earl in terms of like you have to decipher all of his bars, but it's like he's actually pretty metaphorical. He uses like a lot of imagery and emotion when he's rapping. Um, like essentially what Feel Away he starts out essentially by like talking about how um he's with this girl who he like obviously loves. But and he's like he knows he's got to get his shit together. She gets pregnant. And he's just like, "Fuck it, yo! Like I'll do whatever to keep you." And he's explaining like I don't know if he explains it, but in the video, like he said like he'll take the baby, like he'll do the work, which is really interesting. Um, Obviously it's probably something that's been said before, but I think just his delivery keeps it interesting. I mean, obviously James Blake was on the track, which helps, but there Maza and on like NHS is lyrically the best song there. It's just him rapping. Um and I know he's big in the UK and I know, he kind of has a following here, but shit, it took me by surprise. Like he really took me by surprise. Um from top to bottom. I mean, I think Maza has like aside from the fact that the beat slaps and that he has ASAP Rocky on there, it's just like his delivery, his flow, like I don't know. There's something about it that hit me. Um and I think there's a reason that he dropped that now. Like I said, if COVID clears, he's definitely a touring artist. Um but I think it's time. Like I think with what he dropped, um that was very much so like an I mean business thing. That was very much so like a thing of just like yo, like how to put it, like I'm serious about this. Like I am a presence. Like whether it's the local, like even if he was locally known, like where he's from or whatever, like he's like now he's like, I mean business. Like that was a very Og thing. Like that was very ASAP Rocky esque, um, like package and with the aesthetics behind it and everything. And it was just again, it was just like yo, like I mean business. I'm part of this like aesthetic and he's coming hard, man. He's coming hard and with the right backing, with the right people around him, which I think obviously you have Rocky around you. But I've heard Peggy say like, "Yo, Slow Tie is fire." I've heard that he was on the Amine track. He was doing a lot of stuff this year, kind of feature wise, just putting his face out there and being like gaining respect from other artists. And now this was just like to gain respect from us, and it fucking like here you go, man, and he did it. I haven't stopped playing any of those songs. I really, really like, obviously Maz is just like a kind of a typical trap song, but it has a really nice psychedelic vibe to it. But like Feel Away is a really like a legitimately good song. Yeah, it's kind of pop. But I think that's the point, Like he's gonna be big. Like he's gonna be a touring, one of these like Drakes and Kendricks. Like I think he's got a lot ahead of him that will be recognized and will be well deserved by the time he gets there, which is really, really cool. Um, Shit, that might be it. Um, yeah, I mean, I really don't want to review fucking Whole Lot of Red on here. I do want to write it, but it's exhausting to write that shit, man. Like just write about brainless trap music. Um, yeah, it's fucking tough when there's really no content. Like obviously Cardi, there is content in the vibe and the feeling and all this shit. Oh, and that's another fucking thing. What the fuck are those guys called from Sweden? Drain Gang, is that what they're called? With Young Lean and Eco and them, Echo, whatever the fuck, dude. But they're on a wave already, and um it's already hitting US since E dropped, and oh, fuck, what's that album called, man? I don't know. Trash Island dropped. It's like since those two dropped, they've definitely been making a wave with like us, the people who review and who are into music, and I think they're. I don't know if they're ever gonna go pop here. Like I don't know if I'm ever gonna turn on the radio and hear any of them. But I do think that in terms of the undergrounds, we're gonna start seeing them all over the place. I mean, yo, like as annoying as they are, like I really don't. I'm not a big fan of Blade. I'm like Young Lean's good, and I respect him for like his wave and shit. I do like Eco, um, but like throw some of those guys, like throw Eco on a track to write a hook. It's like it's game over. The dude can write hooks for days. Blade definitely has his place in like anti-pop music and pop music. And Young Lean just seems at this point just to be like the mastermind behind all of it. Like his last album was good, but I think he's better being like the Rocky of this of the gang, or like the. Can we talk about what the fuck Ian Connor does? Because I seriously don't know. Like hire me to be a fucking creative thinker. Like isn't that what he like creative director? Fuck you, like creative director. I come up with ideas. It's bullshit. But like that type of thing. Like I think he's just gonna be kind of the head of whatever, if I don't know if their label's called Drain Gang or whatever, but making the moves for them, because I do see more potential musically in the other guys than Lean at this point. But yeah, I think that's gonna be a wave and it's already here. I'm not trying to say like it's not here or it's specific to where it is. But I do think that that as like it's gonna hit the white kids first, which again it already has, but it's gonna hit the white, like the fucking lost high school white kids, dude, that are just like rich enough to be like comfortable, but have like had like an emo phase they never grew out of. It's gonna be that type of shit. Like kids that experimented once with drugs and are now just like, like I relate to this. Just like when 2016 was around, dude, and it was like 16-year-olds are picking up their first beer, and like that had them relate. Like 16-year-old white kids like picked up their first beer, and then they listened to fucking Love Is Rage and like lost their minds. They're like, yo, this is it. Like this is my life. This is me. So it's just, it's cool, and I hope that does happen. Like I hope it reaches here because it is interesting. And it's also interesting to think about what the next wave is going to be. I've talked about this before, but and Migos were supposed to drop. Who cares? But it's also, like when Migos came up, and they brought that sound with them that hasn't left, and Thug and all these guys. But it's like these guys, like Lean in them have like the potential to come over and like carry this sound with them that's then going to be picked up by people who are better, and make it a real thing. Make it like a mainstream hip hop thing, just like kind of like the Thug clones and Lil Babies and all this shit did with that type of shit. So I think if they bring it over, like it's gonna be cool and people are gonna find them. But if other people start to pick it up and try to copy it, and execute it a little better, it's definitely going to be like a main wave in hip hop. That's going to be on the Rap Caviar charts and going to be a really, really big thing. But I think those are really my predictions for like 2021 in terms of music. Again, if tours and shows don't happen, none of this is happening. I think artists have suffered enough from not touring, but if shows start happening, tours start happening, COVID, fucks off, I think it's really is gonna be a big year for hip hop in general. For music too, but for hip hop, it's just like we got so many artists just ready because the biggest hip hop artists are the biggest artists in the world at this point. So Drake, Cole, Kenny, it's like they drop, it's game over. Like constant shows, they're all gonna secure a bag, especially because no one's been going out. It's just like everyone's gonna they're gonna sell out everywhere, dude. No question. People are gonna go to if all three of them dropped, people are gonna go to all three. Like they'll pay that money at this point because it's like everyone's been way too cooped up. So it's gonna be an interesting year for both mainstream and underground. Underground is gonna bring a new wave. That's what I see happening. Like I said, these like Drain Gang and these guys like the psychedelic type rap shit. Hopefully, I mean, Lucky I hope has a big year and just like that type of music. I hope my boys, the Slum Group, I hope they have a fucking big year, man. I hope Mike gets his break. I don't even know if Mike wants a big break, but I hope that him and Earl maybe do something. Like I think these are the waves that are. Mike made his wave. Like Mike's wave has been made for a minute now, but these are the guys that I think are gonna kind of. These are the sounds that I think are gonna kind of drive what hip hop is gonna be in the next year. But I do think. And again, this is like brain melting music, but I do think that the guys, the Drain Gang guys and Lean and them, like I think if that hits US, it hits the white kids, it's gonna be big, and it already is, but like to an extent, but it's gonna be to the point where like I said, like Rap Caviar, like those charts are gonna definitely have those guys on it. But with that being said, I think I've talked out of my ass for long enough. Again, hopefully by next time I'll have a whole lot of Red review. I have no clue what the fuck to write about that. I don't even know how I feel about the album yet, and I've been listening to it for like 2 weeks, dude. But I'll see you guys in the next episode. Appreciate you all. Stay safe. Peace. Love. I'm out.